Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video here on my YouTube channel, and in this particular video we're going to be talking about the top 5 most powerful habits that you should be employing this season to go pro in season 2. How can we sort of make sure that we can make big strides and actually achieve our goals this particular season? We need to adjust our habits. Habits is what really makes sure that we can play 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and not have a problem with it. If you do it every single day, it becomes easier and easier and easier, and at a point it becomes automatic, right? Because you're so used to actually doing it for so long. So how can we make sure that we can do that? First thing to understand, there's 5 habits in this video. I want you guys to do it all in conjunction. Like if there's a video that you need to take seriously out of all the videos I've uploaded, it's this one. Get a pen and paper, write down these habits, and actually make a serious plan to get this, in your routine and really make it serious, because I believe that habits are very, very powerful if you do them properly. So let's get into it. First habit is the ability to play a lot of scrims, particularly in this season, because Spider-Man's gone, and what that means is the crutch that a lot of people relied on in last season is now gone. It's gone, disappeared. What it means is that we have to rely on our fundamental rotation understanding to really play the game properly again, right? Because we didn't have to know that for when we had Spider-Man. We could just Spider-Man across and have no problem and just didn't care, right? But in solos and duos, there's going to be a fundamental change to how we rotate, because we don't have that tool anymore. So we're gonna have to learn that again, right? Obviously 2-3 seasons ago we may have knew that to an extent. Why not get better at that skill than where we were before? Let's really make sure that's up to par, because ultimately if we can rotate better with less mats, then we are going to mat conserve better, and ultimately that's very, very important in endgame, regardless of what game mode you're playing. So let's focus on playing scrims, because I believe that's very, very important. Cool. What's the next one? Learner's mindset. Having a learner's mindset is not only one of the best mindsets to be in general, just because you're always sort of looking at everything in a lens where, how can I learn from this fight that I just lost? How can I learn from this scrim that I just lost? How can I sort of learn from these pros that I'm watching? Always sort of trying to extract information out from the situation that you're in and sort of take opportunity at any loss instead of raging at it, instead of sort of taking it as a negative. Kobe Bryant always took every opportunity to learn something new, and it's, as cringy as it sounds, as cliche as it sounds, it's actually true. Just understand your ego can't be a factor here. You really just need to make sure you understand, like, learning is one of the most important aspects in improving. Seems very obvious here. The statement is nothing fancy that I've said. That's very straightforward. So actually just put yourself in a learner's mindset. Look at everything through a lens where, like, how can I learn something new? How can I add stuff to my skill set? And really think about it in that way. And every time you do that, it's probably less likely that you rage after dying. And if you don't rage, and if you don't sort of feel frustrated after dying, it becomes very easy to continue playing for longer hours and putting in that volume that's required for habit number 1, which is playing a ton of scrims. Cool. Next habit. Fix your sleep, because the number of hours and quality of sleep has become very, very important for learning anything. It's always been important, honestly. It's been very tied for science, where learning and sleep are very associated. We know this. I don't need to go that deep into this. I don't think you need to understand the deep science for it. I'm sure you understand that they're very related. Just understand, take my word for it. It's very, very important your sleep is solid. So, like, just to give you an example of, like, why sleep is so impactful, this is kind of related in, like, a tangential way. It's not really related to esports, but for example, heart attacks go up 24% when daylight savings shift, right? Or they go down. And what I mean by that is, so let's say daylight savings takes an hour away from us. So now most people in the world are sleeping 7 hours. Heart attacks like that go up 24%. Right, so that's the impact 1 hour of sleep can just have on you right away. Imagine the impact that can have on your learning ability, because of how, like, crazy it can be to, like, sleep 4 hours in a day. You may feel fine, but, like, honestly, you don't feel fine. Like, it's not enough to feel fine. You need to actually learn at the most optimal rate, and the best way to sort of do that is make a habit, a serious goal to fix your sleep and really put research into it. Like, think about what is the good quality sleep. One of the things that I do know is that having good natural lighting to wake you up in the morning is really nice. Sleeping at a good hour, that's also accounting for the fact that, maybe it takes an hour for you to fall asleep, so maybe you need 8 hours of sleep. So sleep 9 hours before your time you have to wake up instead of 8, right? Because if you need 8 hours of sleep and you sleep 8 hours before you have to wake up, chances are you're gonna get 6.5 or 7, right? Third thing, stay away from blue light. Like, completely stay away from blue light. Stay away from phone screens. Completely banned while you're sleeping. Do not look at them. Honestly, it's one of the best ways to guarantee you have a sleepless night. Like, don't do it. So stay away from that stuff. I really believe that, like, you should be off your computer for like 30 to 60 minutes before you even head into bed, let alone not having a phone in your bed, right? So the people that are using phone in your bed, you're screwed. Like, I don't know what you're doing, right? like you're in a whole new realm. Okay, next habit number 4. Aim train for 40 to 60 minutes. I don't care if you're on keyboard and mouse. I don't care if you're on controller. It's very, very important to aim train, especially in this meta where it has become very important to track properly with the SMG. Now, it's also become very important to lead with a very good pump shot, because if you don't do a very good pump shot, the SMG becomes very, very hard to land all 4 shots if your opponent has hit the pump shot on you. For example, let's say your opponent doesn't actually have that good SMG aim, but you do. But if they hit their pump shot and you don't, chances are you're just going to lose the fight if they have that big of an HP lead on you. But even if they miss 1 or 2 shots, it doesn't necessarily matter because they hit you for 100 and you hit them for 0. So really practice your pump shot as well. Aim training is just very important this season across the board because of how crucial it is to hit your shots. Like, don't worry about the routine. Don't worry so much about like what needs to be done. Just go and do it. Raiders aim map is a good example of what you should be doing. Another good example is Kovacs, right? These are good options. So if you're a controller and you don't have the option to Kovacs, go Raiders aim map. It is very, very good. Go practice it. 200 pump map. Like, these are the options that you have. Everyone already knows the options for aim training. The problem is they just don't do it. The habit is not built in, which is what I'm trying to get you guys to do, because I feel like that's the missing portion. So focus on that, because I feel like the majority of people have that issue with it. Last habit that's actually very, very important: put volume in these 3 things throughout your day after your warm-up, and really just focus on these 3 things. Like, that's all you have to do. It's very simple. Scrims, realistics, arena. That's it. That's all you need to do, right? Do not sort of focus on anything else, because I personally believe that if you just focus on these 3 things, you're going to succeed. Why is realistics good? Right? Why do I suggest realistics over zone wars and over box fights? Box fights is a very unrealistic scenario. Even though it's really good for peaks, you can actually just achieve that in realistics by sort of employing peaks and realistics in a more realistic manner. What I mean by that is realistics has a offense defense. Box fights are sort of neutral, and what I mean by neutral is like both people are sitting behind a peak, whereas realistically it should be a wall taking scenario. When someone has an HP lead, they're often on the offense, and then the guy who doesn't have the HP lead, who's trying to heal, is on the defense. That's more realistic to what's commonly happening in a game, and I feel like realistics employs that really, really well. Zone wars can be good as well, so definitely play zone wars if you feel more preference towards that. But I believe that just like, I don't think it necessarily matters that much. I believe what really matters is the ability to play against someone good, right? And if you don't really have friends that are really, really good, go rematch.gg and go search up the rematch ranked 1v1s and choose realistic and queue up. It is the easiest way to find someone that's really, really good, and you can challenge yourself in that manner. So if I see anyone in the comments like, oh, how can I find a good duo partner to fight against, like, just go rematch.gg. Like, that's the way you should do it. One thing I really want you guys to understand is building these habits is hard, but the best way to do it is to just do it for day 1. Day 2 becomes very easy, right? So just start doing it and force yourself to do it. Don't skip out on day 1, and then day 2 becomes very easy. Day 2 is still like kind of hard to like definitely attempt. I'll put some energy behind it, and then day 3, day 4 becomes easy, and then day 5 is like free as hell. Like, it'll automatically happen. Day 6 is very, very free. As long as you're doing it in a row and keep up this streak of doing it every single day, the next day becomes easier. The next day becomes easier. That's what habits are, right? Habits are things that make it very uncomfortable if you have it built to get away from. Build that habit around these things, and I promise you, you'll find a lot more progress in all of your skills. Tell me in the comments if there's any habits that you think I've missed. Other than that, thank you again for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.